Good morning. Today I'm going to talk about big mouth Christians. Now I know what you're thinking. She's going to talk about gossiping. No, I'm not. Something completely different is what I'm going to discuss today. Did you know that the Bible actually tells us to be big mouth Christians? Yes, it sure does. Psalm 81:10. I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt. Open thy mouth wide, and I will fill it. Open thy mouth wide. Big mouth Christians. When I read this verse a while back, I immediately got that image in my mind of baby birds. Have you ever seen baby birds waiting to be fed by their mother? That's the image I had in my mind when I read this verse. And I want to notice a couple things about this verse today. First of all, we're commanded to open our mouth. Open thy mouth. When my kids were little, they sometimes did not like the food that I was trying to feed them. They would close their mouth stubbornly and refuse to open it. Just like that. But if I offered them some baby food they liked, they would eagerly open that mouth wide. Why would they open wide? Well, they knew that I was going to fill it with some food that they liked. Sometimes they wouldn't open their mouth because the last time I fed them, I had given them something they did not like. So they didn't want to open their mouth now because they were afraid of what I may give them. Maybe you're afraid of what the Lord is going to feed you. But according to this verse, God has so many blessings for us, but here we are with our mouth closed. We refuse to open because we think we won't like what the Father is going to give us. Do you want God's blessings in your life? Then open your mouth. Be a big mouth Christian. Next, I noticed that God tells us how we should open our mouth. Open thy mouth wide. Wide. None of this half-hearted, mouth open to tiny crack stuff. No, get that mouth open wide. Remember those little baby birds I mentioned? They have their mouth opened as wide as they will go. They are expecting something. They are expecting their mother to fill it with their dinner. And likewise, if we want a blessing from God, we have to open up our mouth. And the wider we open up that mouth, the more blessings he can fit inside. If I offer my son, Mark, say, a bite of ice cream, he opens his mouth as wide as it will go. Why? Because he knows the wider he opens his mouth, the more ice cream he can fit inside. And when God says, open up, you better get your mouth open really wide. Why? The wider you open your mouth, the more room there is for the Lord to stuff blessings inside. Last thing I noticed was that this is a promise. He will do what he promises. Open thy mouth wide and I will fill it. Sometimes when my kids were little, my husband would feed them. And at times the kids would not want what was for dinner. And so he would make funny helicopter or plane noises and fly the spoon towards her mouth. I can't do it like he does, but he would do a great job. And then when he'd get right to their mouth, they'd open it up and he would put the food inside. Now, my husband would never go through all of that effort to get them to open their mouth and then not put the food inside. No, if their mouth was open, in went the food. Now, if we open our mouth, God promises to fill it. How many blessings have we missed from God simply because we just don't open our mouth? Matthew 5 verse 6, blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. So I encourage you today to open your mouth. Open it up wide, and God promises that he will fill it. This week, let's get our mouth open wide, not gossiping, but expecting a blessing from the Lord. Let's be big mouth Christians.